So, Mr. Bost, Mr. Spinato, and I, back about four and a half years ago, saw that the high school wanted to build an esports program. And so when we got the email, we went down to the athletic director, said that we were interested. We were all three kind of given the green light to start building the program for the high school. It was not going to be a short process by any means. We were going to have to get all of the logistical stuff squared away. We needed to find funding for it. We needed to get students to gain interest. So there was a lot of moving parts for this. We did end up getting the funding. Helm Group donated money in order to get the program going. We bought all the equipment for it. We talked to a lot of students, and we had a large population of kids. We had well over 100 students interested. And so we got the green light. We spoke to the board. The board approved it, and we were ready to go. Unfortunately, the deal that we had with the school kind of didn't fall through necessarily. It just did not work out how we anticipated that it would. And I saw that Highland was building an esports team. And I talked to Pete Norman, the athletic director of Highland at the time, and he was actually on the school board and heard our spiel and our desire to start this program, and he was all about it. So he ended up getting it going at Highland, and us three went from the high school program, which never really took off for us, and went to Highland instead. So that's how it became a thing. We got hired at Highland, and that's how we three became coaches. Basically decided that we were just going to walk away from the high school program. It didn't work out how we had anticipated. I'm not going to say too much more than that, but it just didn't work out how we wanted it to. And Highland seemed very gung-ho, and they really wanted this to happen. They saw the future of it. They figured they could bring more students to Highland in order to play the games, but also they'd get obvious tuition. And so, it makes the school more desirable for students that maybe were interested in gaming. And so when we got the green light to do this, it didn't start immediately because we had a lot of work we had to do. We had to buy all the equipment. We had to, we got a budget. And with that budget, we had to navigate what can we buy, how many stations, like what are we going to be focusing on, what games? Do we want consoles? Do we want PCs? And so there's a lot of stuff that went into this. And when we ended up getting the funding, we bought everything. We set the room up. We had a lot of internet things, a lot of AV connections. We were given a room next to the bookstore, kind of where like the guidance counselors and everything are. And it went from a blank room with nothing, just ladders and ceilings with holes in it, to a very nice elite facility for what we're operating. And so once we had that, we got that done in the spring. We worked pretty much the entire summer with counselors, the community, trying to spread the word that we were doing this. And so then that next fall is when we were able to finally start, and we had a pile of kids come in. We did a little bit of marketing, met kids at the fall picnic, and they all showed up. We did a little bit of an orientation, got kids signed up, and we ran a full season that time. I'm honestly not entirely sure where the money exactly came from for Highland. They did give us a certain amount of money, which was enough for us to buy 13 really high-end PCs. We were able to buy all the chairs. We were able to buy the program that we used. We used, back then it was called Generation Esports, and that costs a couple $1,000s a year to run so that we can use their platform, which connects us to other colleges and universities to play them. I don't know if Highland just kind of had this money in athletics from the boosters, from donors, but they were able to approve that budget for us. And kind of the nice thing about our program is there's no travel involved. And so we really don't spend a lot of money. Yes, the startup cost is significant, but beyond that, I mean, the PCs, they're good, they're well taken care of. They're going to last a long time. And really the only expense we have is the couple $1,000 budget needed to run LeagueOS, is the system that we use to connect. And so we pay them the fee, and they run everything in the background, set us up with other colleges and things. And we don't do any fundraising. We don't do any sort of, we don't make our kids go out and our players go out and collect money, because we don't have the same expenses as the other programs have at the college. The basketball team, the baseball teams, they all have to travel, sometimes around the country. We don't have to do that. So our expenses probably cost less than one bus trip or one flight or whatever they use to go. And that's kind of a nice selling point to, colleges wanting to start a program is, yes, you have an upfront cost, but really it's not that expensive long term. So, again, I don't know where the funding is even coming from. Highland they said, here's your budget, buy the stuff, give us the receipts, and they trusted us to do that, and it worked out well. We've been doing it now. I mean, the whole process has been about 4 years in the making, but part of that was obviously the startup. And, we've been playing now for a full 3 years, so we've had a total of 6 seasons. The way that we run it, we could do it fall, winter, and spring. We take the winter off. And so we run our fall semester. Usually we have more students in the fall, newer kids, they want to test it out. And we do have a few kids that fall off and they don't play or whatever. But we do the fall, take the winter off. Most of those kids come back in the spring, and most students graduate in the spring. So after their second year, we do lose kids, and then we recycle it in the next fall. But in the meantime, we do little open houses. We've had community, kids in the community come in and test it out, see it. Boys and Girls Club has been there. The Upward Bound has come. We've had different small schools and things have interest in coming in and seeing everything. We've gone out and spoken to local schools for recruitment, things like that. But that's the way it's pretty much run. We run a couple seasons. The seasons last a couple months, and we do regular season, which is about 8 weeks, and then the playoffs start. And when the playoffs start, if we're in there, which hopefully we are every season, that can last a couple weeks in itself, depending on how far we can get. And we've had some major success in that area. One of the major things when Spinato Boston we built this is, let's go back to when we were doing this at the high school, there was a major need for more activities for students in the school. And one of the goals of the principals at the time was, let's get more kids active and engaged in things. Fewer kids over the years have been participating in sports and activities. So how do we ramp those numbers up? And so when this was first introduced to the high school, Jeff Fitzpatrick, who was the athletic director, he kind of looked around and said, okay, it looks like these are things we don't offer that could be potentially big. And boys volleyball came into that conversation, esports came in, and even bass fishing, believe it or not. Yeah, and so those were the top 3 most interested things. And so that's when we dove in. And for me, one of the biggest components was telling students, you don't have to be a stellar athlete. You do not have to be 6 feet tall. You do not have to be, strong. Anybody can do this. And I believe that most students, they want to be involved. They want to, have competition. And they're not able to do that because of certain things. It could be disabilities. It could be fear. And I've ran into, plenty of students who, they didn't play football because they were just too nervous to. Well, with esports, most kids have held a controller. They've gamed, and we weren't really interested right away at being good. We wanted to see kids get active, be more involved, make friends, and just overall be engaged with their school and their peers. And we had a ton of kids signed up to do just that at the high school. So there is definitely a market for it. I think it just needs to be done correctly. That's really important. So what I would tell kids is that if you're on the fence, we have a great time. And it's a growing program. And I believe that we are early still. Not every school has this. Not every school offers it. Freeport High School does have the program that Boss, Spinato, and I built. It's here. I'm not sure it's pushed a lot. When we had, I think Boston, I don't know, had 130 kids on the interest list, and the majority of them were like, yeses, we're going to do this. That's the potential, and we could see that again if it's pushed and marketed and kids know about it. But it's kind of silent, and we're not seeing a lot. And we see the same thing at Highland as well. This is still so new, and so many people don't know what it is. And a lot of people will call it like a club, or they'll call it just a get-together of people just hanging out. You are a college athlete if you play on our team at Highland. You are competing with other colleges. We do playoffs. People get recognized. We have had kids at Highland get offered scholarships to play at other universities. There is a lot of potential in this. And as we're early in on this, I think it's going to pick up a lot more in the future as fewer kids are playing actual physical sports and want still something to do. And so the way I pitch this to students is you come in, we have a good time, you can compete, you can make friends. It's a great way to be involved. And Highland also offers a college credit for being on the team and participating for the entire season. So that's a kind of a cool thing that they offer as well. Talked to a lot of the kids at the high school. Many know that we coach this. The seniors this year, their freshman year was when this was all really starting to blossom and starting to, get steam. And so since the seniors this year's freshman year, I mean, we've talked about it. They say, we're going to play for you. We're going to come out and do this. And we have had a lot of Freeport kids on our team. We've also had a lot from the surrounding area. I am surprised that we haven't had more Freeport kids. A lot of the students we end up with are the smaller schools on the outskirts of town. I would think that with us having the biggest population in this area that we would be producing a lot more of that, but I think that comes with the high school beefing up their esports team, the school, letting kids know that it exists, maybe even the counselors, telling them, hey, this is a thing that's going on a lot of people don't know about. Because we could see that as almost like a pipeline. The high school could come out and come to Highland, on a random Thursday, and we can all play together and compete, and they can see what it's like. So these kids, in high school can play at the next level, and I'm genuine when I say that you are a college athlete. And it's not an athlete in the sense that you're, a football player, basketball player, baseball player, but you are still on a team competing for a college, and you are, you can get recognized for these things. There are people making tons of money from gaming right now, whether it's from streaming, competing. We have had numerous students at Highland play for us and win championships. We've had students who have had scholarship offers. We have had students, just there to be a part of something. And I think that it's just important to recognize that.
Now, okay, last question.
Sure.
And one more little thing just for me to have a little rivalry during all three
Okay.
of this. So the last question is, what is do you coach a mate like a certain game, or do you coach all the games?
So we each kind of, I don't want to say specialized because we all kind of do our parts, but we do have the games that we gravitate towards more. We don't typically know what games we're going to offer season to season. We just don't. The makeup of students that we have dictate what games we offer. We very consistently had Call of Duty and the Nintendo games. Those have been probably the most consistent for us the last 3-4 years. But we've also offered Rocket League. We've done Fortnite. We have done Overwatch. We've done Valorant. We do Madden. We've done NBA 2K. But the majority of the people that we have are either Call of Duty people, Nintendo people, so Smash or Mario Kart. It's harder for us to do the games like Valorant and Overwatch that require 5 people because you got to find 5 people that want to play that game. And we do, it's just like any other sport, we require eligibility. And so if you're failing all your classes and you're the 5th member of that team, you're not playing it that week. And so we've run into instances like that because we do hold you accountable. We want you to get good grades. That comes first. And so we've kind of stepped away from those bigger until we get more enrollment. I think we're stepping away from that and focusing more on 1 or 2 player games. And I focus most on Call of Duty. That's been my game for the last 20 years. Boss, he's a Fortnite guy. He just is. Spinato, he focuses most on Madden. We all 3 will work with Nintendo quite a bit. And then when it comes to certain obscure games, I mean, there are a few games we're just kind of like hands off. These kids are better than we are. We're going to let them do what they need to do. And it's worked out pretty well for us. But, it's fun for us because we've won a championship in Call of Duty. We have had multiple deep playoff runs in pretty much all of these games. And it's just cool to see just how impressive some of these individuals are that would not have had an opportunity to compete otherwise.
All right, the little rivalry thing I want to say. Would you beat Boston Spinato in Call of Duty?
Yes, and they will tell you that that's not true. But I will wreck both of those men in Call of Duty.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Yep.
So currently we are in week 6 of our season, of the regular season. Right now, all of our teams are geared for the playoffs because they all have a winning record, which is really cool. It's something we haven't done probably since our first season a while back. We kind of in a lull, but currently we have 2 different Madden teams, 3 Mario Kart teams, 1 Call of Duty team, and 1 Apex Legends team, and they're all doing fantastic. I think out of all of them, Apex Legends is doing the best. I think they've only lost once, and that was on a. I don't want to be like that salty guy, but it was kind of on a bad loss. It was something stupid. It was more rules than anything else, but yeah, I think that's important. It's cool to go to the playoffs and see what the kids are going to accomplish in the playoffs. And I think Apex has the best chance of making a deep run out of all our teams, yeah. I really like the idea of getting fresh faces and seeing new kids every year. One of the advantages that community colleges has over the 4-year institutes is that it's only 2 years. So I'll have a kid, a freshman this year, I'll have them next year, but then they're gone. So I get a fresh set of kids every 2 years and with new talent, and some of them play brand new games. Like this year was our first year ever playing Overwatch, and that brought a lot of new perspective for me, and I got to learn a lot of new things. So that keeps me inspired. It's just how rapidly we change out kids. Last semester it was Fortnite, but we lost one of our guys. They transferred to a different school, which sucks. But that was my big thing. I'd say currently now it's Mario Kart, just because I have the most game experience with it, and I like it a lot. It's really sweaty, actually. It's more competitive than you think. Like a kid's game is super competitive. There's meta builds and there's different tracks that you want to avoid. Like we lost a match last week because we were the away team and they got the home field advantage. And the only reason they won, and I'm going to be salty, is because they kept picking maps that they couldn't fall off. And every time I was like, I told our players, like, pick a map they could fall off. We'd win by a mile too. It'd be like a gigantic gap, and they couldn't catch up because they kept falling off and falling off. Then they get their pick and it'd be like Moo Moo Meadows, and you can't fall off Moo Moo Meadows. So, yeah, I've been really passionate about Mario Kart, if you can't tell. And there's even strategy to the items that you pick up too. There's like, if you pick up a coin, you hold onto the coin so that your next item's a shell or a banana. So stuff like that. So I've taught them that, and one of our players has grown tremendously. Her name's Helen. She lost every match last semester, and now she has a winning record of like 5-3. So, yeah, she's taken everything we've given her and has done a lot better.
Now,
Something new from them?
yes.
I'm hoping something new that we can get. Marvel Rivals dropped this year, and I'm hoping that we get a lot of Marvel Rivals players just because I'm a big fan of Marvel's IP in general, and I like that team style of play where it's pretty much an Overwatch clone, but I think they do it better. I would like to get some Overwatch players. And I guess as far as energy goes, I'd like a lot more, I don't know, kind of like a desire. I think a lot, not that all of them are lacking this, but like this competition, like this will to just like win. And not just win, but like dominate whoever they're playing. I think that's something we're missing. I guess fire is what I'm saying in some of these players, but just the ability and the want to just dominate other people and beat them.
Now,
I could put a lot of it on Markham. He had connections to Pete Norman, who was the previous athletic director. We originally had planned to come to the high school, had everything set up, bought the systems, got everything in place, but they wanted to pay us basically like peanuts for 3 seasons. It was like $1,000 for fall, winter, and spring. That's it, just $1,000 for those 3, which would have been probably, that would have been the entire school year, and that's not right. So we bounced. We said they were trying to call our bluff and said we would join even if they're going to pay us like that, and we said we're not coming, and they thought we'd come, but we didn't. So thankfully, at the same time, Highland was setting it up, and they just got it approved. So Markham had Pete Norman's number. He texted him and said, hey, we just got screwed at Freeport, but we're willing to come work for you. And they paid us way more than that to do less work too.
now speaking about the esports,
Yeah, I guess that I'd go off of that. I wish they had a dedicated space that wasn't the library where you have to like shuttle everything in and then shuttle everything out, and have something like we do at Highland where we have our own room, we have our own identity, this is our room. I think that would make a big difference. The school district put money into gaming PCs and new gen consoles instead of, I think it's PS4s, right? We got you guys?
yeah.
I think that'd be a great help. And then just getting more kids here. I know it's not necessarily the coach's fault, but they're not in the building, so they don't have the ability to actively recruit kids in school. I would have had that luxury being here, like, oh, you're into video games, well, come play for our team. We meet from blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. I just wish it was bigger. Freeport's esports program on paper should be huge, but it's maybe like, what, 10 or less?
Yeah, and people keep leaving too.
And people
so
leave. That's what I'm saying. So, that's what we want. We want a good feeder program for Highland, and I think that'd be a good start, is to start within our own community.
Now,
We try to promote ourselves a little bit. We'll go out and do some school outreach. Like last year, we went to Eastland at the end of the year and had like a talk with them and played games with them, just to like, hey, Highland's an option. You should come here. It's a good opportunity for you. Unfortunately, though, when we did that last year, their team is really young. They're all freshmen and sophomores, so the payoff hasn't come from that yet. So we're still waiting on that payoff. Other than that, we could really use help from the next athletic director, just promoting us and getting us out there and to other schools, because we've had to do a lot of the legwork on our own, which is fine, but it's harder when you don't have as many connections as someone in that position would or should. Me personally as a coach, I think, and we've been working on it this semester, but next semester we really want to hit this idea hard of having actual practice times, dedicated practice times. We're doing it now, we're kind of piloting it, and working out kinks that they have in matches. So like, okay, last match you kept rushing one side instead of just slowing down and picking us. So like for Call of Duty, for example, picking a side to stick to and peek corners. Instead, you're just rushing in and getting killed. So we have been working on that. I want to continue to work on that, just individual coaching to get them better at specific scenarios. Highland, we had a dedicated server and then it died, so our internet is super slow now. So we really need help with that. We really need to fix that, and they're working on it, I think. Yes and no. They're supportive, but they don't really know anything about esports in general. So we've kind of been out alone without Pete. And Pete he didn't know anything either, but he was like really into it and fired up about it. But he learned more as he progressed, but now he's gone. So we have to start fresh. And hopefully the next one knows something about esports. Our Apex Legends player, Naomi, she went here to Freeport High School. If she transfers to a four-year university, which I think she is, and they have esports, I think that she'd keep doing it for a long time. She just loves gaming in general, and she's good at everything she touches. It's crazy. Like, we put her in Fortnite. I was like, hey, do you play Fortnite? She's like, no, not really. And she dropped like 30 kills. I'm like, okay. But she's just good. So, and she's actually passionate about Apex Legends, so it's good to see her play games she actually cares about and do well. So that's fun. So I hope she continues on with it after Highland. I think our facility's fine, but if they're offering us the opportunity of a new facility, I would gladly take it, because then we have the chance to start fresh and say exactly what we want. Because our current situation is we just remodeled an old classroom, and they did a really good job with it. But if we have the chance to like start from the ground up, that'd be fantastic. We have like dedicated parts of the room for like consoles, PCs, and everything else, and then just like a general meeting room for like coaches' meetings and stuff like that. That'd be awesome. I think that'd be really cool. But if we don't get it, that's fine. That's what we have, works perfectly. So.
Now, one more.
No, probably not. For esports, I think we're fine. But if they make a new building for all of athletics, then yeah, I think we should have a dedicated space. I think that'd be appropriate.
We didn't make it to the limit of 15 minutes, but I do have a little rivalry question that I'm going to ask at the end of each and every one of these. Do you think you can beat Markham and Spinato in Call of Duty?
Markham, yes. Spinato and I are like even. Markham sucks. He's not good at Call of Duty. He has the most experience, but he cannot shoot a gun for his life. It doesn't matter. He'd make every excuse in the book. He'd say, oh, I need my controller. He brings his controller. He still sucks. Then I'll hop off my controller and use my mouse and keyboard, and I still do better, and I don't even play mouse and keyboard. Spinato and I are pretty even, so it depends on the day. Some days he gets on a hot streak, and he's hard to beat, but some days I have my hot streaks too. But Markham, no. Markham's the dead last.
Oh my God, this is about to be the funniest thing I've ever did. All right, thank you, boss.
You're welcome.
Spinato. I'm an English teacher at Freeport High School and an esports coach at Highland Community College. I think it would be cool to add that we talked about when we first started the program is getting people involved that don't play games, are not like super competitive, through color commentary for older people or shoutcasting for people that know what that is, that are more in the esports scene, which is commentating on games that are happening. So we can get more people involved that are more in like the I want my future to be on television or podcasting or any of those social media things, and kind of get them practice doing that so that you don't necessarily have to be like really good at a specific game to be part of the team.
So basically you want like more like commentary type people on the team that commentates the games and stuff?
Yeah, and like an easy way to do that is like as it's happening, like we do stream some of the games and like that person would stream and commentate on what's happening, yeah.
Okay. Another question is...
Oh, something that I would like to see is when we were trying to start it, there is a specific league that is connected with the NJCAAE, which is just the esports division for junior college. And I would like to see the high school join that league because I think it does a lot of things that other things like just IHSA don't do, where there are weekly competitions for every single kid. It's not just a couple tournaments throughout the year, but it is every single week you have a game and you have a record and there's playoffs. So it functions more like a traditional sport, which is more similar to what we do at the college, but also keeps more people involved so you don't have people drift away. Because you see every week a routine and you're doing stuff every week and you need to practice for it and all those things.
Yeah, because I haven't been going to esports because I got to work, but I feel like to be honest, if we do join that, I feel like more people will join and stay because we have more games and more tournaments going on than sitting here waiting till April and then going all the way out to a different school to play a tournament.
Yeah, it's just, it's too much time, but, and I think it lets people drift away because it's not a consistent thing. And I know it's hard at the high school because you have to pay to be in that league. And I do not know how much it costs anymore because that was about 5 years ago for us. But that'd be something that would probably help keep retention up while also getting more people to join. And the thing that we've seen that's really cool is that we had a lot of people come in as first year people in the fall that had low confidence about their abilities to do things. And I think something that people don't see that sometimes I think you see in more traditional sports is like they worked really hard to get a lot better. And this season, our team is way, way better. So last season, we had, I think, 8 teams and only 3 made the playoffs. This season, we have 7 still, and probably 5 or 6 will make the playoffs. So we've had a lot of growth as people in that program, and a lot of like hard work went into like gaining confidence and learning how to like be consistent and all of those things.
Yeah, I wish.
I'm actually very happy with the facility. Highland put a lot of money into that room. I don't know if one of the other coaches got into it, but they put $50,000 into the startup costs for that program. So we got to pick the computers and the setup and the monitors and everything that's in there. So I actually am very happy with the setup that we have. It could always be better. There are always improvements that could be made. I know they've talked to us a little bit about some of those improvements. As the program grows, since esports is still pretty new, it's getting less new now, but it is still pretty new. As things kind of grow and teams get bigger, that will necessitate more space, and that is when I would like to upgrade. Because right now, I am very happy with what we have, but someday in the future, we might need a bigger space that can just accommodate more things as they come up. I don't really know for sure. We don't have a lot of contact with a lot of the colleges that we play against. We mostly talk to the high schools in the area, which is very different than what we're doing. I feel pretty supported by the college. Again, they spent a lot of money to put that stuff in. The one thing that we could always probably get more help on is like exposure. Again, esports is very new. It's a thing that not everybody knows about. So that's probably like the one thing that we can improve by just having better communication with like the things that be at the school, since a lot of people don't know we exist, and that's one of the hardest things for us. That's different than, say, basketball. When you're a basketball player and you go to a school, you check to see if they have a basketball program because that's what you're used to. You don't necessarily do that for an esports team.
Yeah.
We would love to have a Marvel Rivals team.
I would do that instantaneously.
We know it's really popular, which is not really like my motivation. We like the games that require teamwork at the school because that's kind of like the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Is to get you out of the house and like working with a group of people. That's the skill set that matters in esports. So we like to push the team games. That's why Marvel Rivals would probably be number 1 out of the new things that's starting to get offered. Something we've always wanted to offer that isn't necessarily new has always been Rocket League, which is, again, a game that requires teamwork and constant communication, and that's really what we're looking for. We love the individual games, too, and we're usually pretty successful at them, but we really like those team games because it gets people talking and communicating and getting better at those things.
Out of the communication that you have, like Overwatch,
I think we're getting a lot better. That's one of the big improvements that has happened over from fall to spring is that we've got a lot better working together and talking and having actual strategy, which again is what we're looking for. As a team?
yeah, as a team.
Probably Apex Legends is our best game right now. We are 6-1 as we talk today. And then both of our Madden teams have also already qualified for the playoffs. So as of now, those are probably our 2 most successful games this season. Traditionally, our most successful game has been Call of Duty Gunfight. That is where we've won the most trophies and awards and things.
Speaking of,
So we all like partially coach some things, but yes, we do usually have like a game we're like the most in charge of that we coach the most like closely. I am the Madden coach on the team, so I coach the 2 Madden players on the team very closely. Right now, when they play games, I sit in between them and like observe, and then we work on those things on our practice days. So that's my game, is I am the Madden coach.
oh no, this camera's about to die.
Boston would be a good fight. Markham, it would not be a good fight. That dude, he's trash. He's trash. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sure he coped and said he would win, but he knows what the records are based on competitions previously held.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.